All right, welcome to the Finance and Operations meeting, April 7th. Again, looking forward to having a great conversation tonight. Thank you for joining, everyone. So, call to order of business. We've got some committee seats to fill. I don't know which one of you guys want to go ahead and move forward with the nomination. Tommy, I guess you want to go ahead and do it?
Don't matter to me. You want to do it, Bumpy? You want me to do it?
You take the first one.
All right. Committee to consider the application for service on the Board of Zoning Appeal. Recommend Antonio Baldridge, first term bump district. Is that what you want?
Turn off. Yeah.
All right, do I have
Am I
a
reading from
second?
the same one? Where are you reading from?
Right here. First one.
Okay, I see it right. I
Yeah,
got you.
right there, yeah.
All right.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it. All right, Tommy?
All right, next one, committee to consider the application for the service on the Planning Commission. Recommend Derek Williams for first term
All right, do I have a second?
and Sheen Faulkner.
So it's one or the two?
It's one or,
Yeah,
yeah.
I recommend we do Derek Williams in my
Alright.
district.
Derek Williams.
Yeah, second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it. All right. Riverview Fire?
Committee to consider applications for service for the Riverview Fire Tax District Board. Vacancy for District 1. Recommendation for consideration appointment of Tyson Campbell, Christopher Durant, Jason Demo. Which one? Who we going with?
William Nichols.
Okay, so we're gonna nominate William Nichols for the
Second.
first
Do I have
term.
a second? Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right, Catawba Regional Workforce.
We have a committee to consider application for service for the Catawba Regional Workforce Investment Board. And it looks like we're going back with Stacy Harrison for a second term.
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right. Lake Wiley Parks and Recreation.
Committee to consider application for service for the Lake Wiley Parks and Recreation District. We're recommending either Christopher Touchstone or Jeff Ledford. So who's-
Jeff Lepford.
Okay, do I have a second?
No, I'm not gonna second that one.
I'll do the second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against?
No.
All right. All right, committee to consider applications for service of Bethel Lake Wiley Land Acquisition and Preservation Park District.
Want me to take it, Bumpy? Our recommendation for consideration of appointees Kristen Mohamed, Grayson Boatwright, Winston Martinez for first term, or a reappointment of Daniel Venosa for the first term, and I recommend Daniel Venosa.
Yes, I'll second it.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right, Catawba Regional Council of Government.
Let's see. Recommendation for considering the reappointment of Laura Ursher for a second term.
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Committee to consider application of service on Keep York County Beautiful.
Recommendation for consideration of appointments of Shelby Champion to fill the unexpired term.
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
What about the at-large?
Well, we need to go through each one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then recommendation to consider appointment of Corey Tilley to fill an unexpired seat.
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
And, recommendation for consideration of appointment of Joel Ferris for first term.
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right, committee to consider application for service of Rock Hill, York County Convention and Visitor Bureau.
Recommendation for consideration for appointment for Corey Tilley, for Thomas Henry, for Charlie Ruffalo, for Jessica Gladden, for Destiny Jenkins to fill an unexpired terms. Who are we going with on that one?
Can they hold two committee on those? They can't do it, can they?
What do you mean?
Like the Corey Tilley.
Oh, no, he cannot. He can only be on one.
So Corey
But there's a
Tilley.
letter of recommendation in your packet from Andy Clinton on who he suggested to put in those two seats.
Do you have that handy, or are we gonna put this on hold?
I have it.
1 second.
It was Thomas Henry and Charlie Ruffalo, are
Okay.
the two that he suggested.
All right, so we'll go ahead and do that.
Second.
Well, go ahead, you have to
Oh.
choose one.
All right, I thought you did.
So for the first one, I recommend Thomas Henry.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
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 And for the second, at large, Charlie Ruffalo.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, ayes have it. All right, committee to consider applications for service on York County Forever.
I recommend Jack Sherdnight.
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right, and that's it. All right, next we have some allocations of funds. I don't know which one of y'all want to go ahead and.
Committee to consider allocation of funds from District 1 to Palmetto Women's Center in the amount of $3,000.
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Committee to consider allocation funds from District 1 Parsonage Family in the amount of $1,500.
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Committee to consider allocation of funds from District 1 to Pathways in the amount of $1,000.
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Committee to consider allocation of funds from District 4 to Pilgrim's Inn in the amount of $2,000.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it.
We're gonna skip this one for for A Place for Hope. We're gonna defer that one.
You gonna, okay, do you want to go ahead and do a motion to defer?
Yep, make a motion that we defer The Place for Hope
Second.
in the amount of $3,000.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Committee to consider allocation of funds for District 4 to Long Live Jared Blake Foundation in the amount of $2,500.
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Committee to consider allocation of funds for District 7 to the Fort Mill Care Center in the amount of $5,000.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right, financial update.
So you have in front of you the months of December and January. We didn't have a financial update last month. So good news is there's still no surprises, so far. It's always a good thing. We've been harping on vacancy rates. So the vacancy rates for the sheriff's office were 7.4%, and then it jumped up to 9.8% back in January. The rest of the general fund was at 6.1%, and then it went up to 6.3% in January as well. When you look at revenues, taxes appear to be coming in like they have in the past. We're still watching those to make sure that they finish where they're supposed to. And then we're currently working on the budget, as y'all know, and I think there's another budget workshop tomorrow. We'll put some bows on it before Josh presents it here at the end of April. So other than that, we're good to go.
That's awesome. So when you say the revenues are coming in, so it's on pace for what it normally is for this time of year?
Yes,
And what
sir.
is that pace? Is it 35%, 50%?
Well, no. So if you remember local governments, we send out most of our taxes get billed
Mhm.
out in that September, October timeframe,
Mhm.
but they aren't really due until that January 15th deadline. So
Right.
we really don't really see them coming in until that December, January timeline. So I mean,
Gotcha.
at the end of January, out of our
You're gonna have about
110,
90% collected.
yeah,
About 90%.
yeah,
You'll have collected. You've always got some delinquents, and most of them will pay in February, March, but you'll still have a percentage that
Yeah.
pay for it.
right, okay.
It's very consistent with what you saw at the school district and the tax collections.
Right, okay, very good. Any other questions, guys, for the financial update? No?
The sheriff's vacancy rate.
Mhm.
Is that due to people retiring or quitting or?
Most
What's
of
the
it's
one?
due to the detention center. It's a revolving door. It's just hard to keep people in some of those positions.
Can I recommend that Josh, Kevin, and they would go kind of catch a shift every now and then?
I will let them take that up with you
Yeah.
after the meeting.
I do think it's one of the reasons why,
Well, we didn't see that one coming.
well,
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, that came out of left field.
you know,
Holy cow.
I do think it's one of the reasons we're recommending the agenda item that's on y'all's agenda for tonight, which is to increase the pay for
Mhm.
those folks working there.
Well,
We have to remain competitive.
exactly. I think that's gonna make a big difference, so, all right, excellent. All right, local vendor preference follow-up discussion.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I think you should have before you
Come up
the
here.
results of
To the microphone.
I'll see if I can know what's good. Before you have the summary response from the survey, as you may recall. Staff presented a presentation in regards to local vendor preference in November. And then again in February, there was further discussion and the council, at the council's direction, we conducted a survey. And tonight, presenting the results or the responses from the survey.
Okay.
We actually asked 8 questions. Basically, first of all, are they familiar with the term? Are they familiar with local vendor preference? Are they residents of York County? How do they feel about the preference? So those were the type of questions that we canvassed, and the report provides a summary, a basic summary of the information received. We casted approximately 5,000 emails out to the vendors to get a proper fair sampling. We solicited through the 5 states that we typically do business with in that regard. So we feel that we have a fair representation. We received 279 responses to our request. I feel that this is reasonable in that the emails are just as good as anybody's providing any updates to their contact information.
Right.
So having said that, I feel that we received a great response accordingly.
So
Okay.
when you sent it out, like, so did we get a good response from local businesses in the area, like percentage-wise?
That's one of the questions in there, that'll tell you how many
Yeah.
with local.
Oh, it does.
And
Okay.
the survey was anonymous,
Mhm.
so we won't have that specific
Right.
information. But
Right.
based upon the response to the questions,
Yeah,
we know that there was a fair representation.
okay. Okay. So when we do something like this across the board, like where do we stack up against other counties that are implementing this kind of the same type of initiative?
That was some information Tiara provided, I think, back in November, and then again in February,
Right.
of where, other counties are at with their local vendor preference. And assuming y'all move forward with this, I think that would be some of the support behind the recommendation Tiara then would give on what exactly the ordinance would look like.
Okay.
So, we're gonna try to be middle of the road with that. We don't wanna be an outlier with what we're doing, but middle of the road, and give a nudge to the local vendor preference, but not do anything to try to drive away competition. That's the balancing act we talked about
balancing act,
before.
right.
Where we'd give somebody if you're within X percentage,
Mhm.
you can match, but we're not gonna be, telling taxpayers we're gonna pay more, but we're gonna give the local vendor an opportunity that other non-local vendors wouldn't have to match.
Yeah, okay, this is, I tell you, this is well needed, so nice work on this thing. What questions do you
I
have?
was gonna say, just to go back to one of your questions about the local response. I think second question says, does the business owner reside in York County? That was a big response to that one as a yes.
Mhm.
So out of the 250 or so responding.
On the question two?
Yeah. There was
Okay.
basically kind of a little indication that more people responded that they were from York County in that question.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah, and I want to just touch on, you know, we all want to know what other counties or whether it's counties or municipalities are doing, whether there are a lot out there or whether there's not a lot. That's not going to be the basis of how we craft this, because I think sometimes it does serve a good purpose to be one of the very few that's out there, because we've always been a leader in taking the strong initiative to do something, whether it was with benefits, whether it was in pay, whether it's, yeah, we've kind of gotten out there.
We've been on the tail end of that. Keep going.
Well,
keep
since
going.
I've been on council, I've pushed some of them initiatives to spruce up some of the things. So it may come back, there's not a lot of people out there doing this kind of stuff, but that doesn't mean we can't do and implement, because
Yeah.
we're in a good position.
And Bob, I mean, you weren't here on F&O the first time it was represented. There's a fair amount. I think, Tiara, you did the top 10 counties, and I think 6 of those were doing some type of local vendor preference. But that might be something good if we can send a bump so he can sort of catch up with both of y'all that were on F&O, so you can see what's cheaper than the last time, the information. It was some good information.
Yeah.
Yeah, according to our earlier communication, it was Aiken, Anderson, Beaufort, Berkeley, Horry, and Richland County with local preference.
Okay. Oh, I think this, Tommy, did you have any?
No, I'm fine.
You're good? I think this
Look
goes,
good.
yeah. No, I think this goes hand in hand with what we're trying to do with small business and local businesses. I think this is good. Very good. So
And if
we
you-
need an action item on this one, right? To have it, bring it to the,
I think it's more of feedback to staff. Do we need to go and work on crafting a potential edit
Mhm.
to bring back to y'all for discussion in your next F&O? So it's more direction to staff on what to
Yeah.
work on for the committee.
right?
I don't know if it's at the point where you would say yes to this without knowing what the change would be.
You want us to come back with a recommendation?
Yeah,
to y'all?
why don't we just, so we won't need a motion for recommendation. Let's just come back, we'll read through it, and then on the next F&O, we'll give feedback, and then whatever feedback there is.
Staff can bring a recommendation, y'all will provide feedback.
Yeah, exactly. And then we can move it to the broad.
Are we calling it a potential ordinance for what one would look like, or?
We'll give y'all a recommended draft ordinance.
Okay.
Okay.
Draft ordinance, okay.
Okay, that's good.
And I
Okay.
did include some actual vendor comments, just as a point of reference for you for future reading.
Okay, yeah, okay, this is good. Well, thank you for doing this. I think this is really starting to, it's sending a huge message out to the business community out here that we're here to really build up our community with, businesses, not only, small business, but mid-sized business, et cetera. So, thank you. Appreciate
Good work,
it.
Tiara.
Excellent.
Good work.
All right, let's see where we're at. All right, as far as committee approval for minutes for February 17th, do I have any changes at all?
We approve the minutes as written.
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Ayes have it. All right, we have nothing in executive session or matters coming out of executive session. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to
Just sit here for a little bit.
Yeah, you
I'll
ain't.
say.
Ain't no hurry.
Air conditioning.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it.
Going to the sweat pit.
All right. We're going down into the
Keep the
sauna.